We are going to hear from Charles Zack, and he is running in Burlington North and Milton West. And let me tell you, this is a gigantic riding. It's huge. They just redid this whole area, the federal government did, and so this is a large riding. We need all the help in every single riding to make it possible for these candidates to make a difference. Charles Zack is a Burlington native who brings extensive experience in architecture, labor relations, IT, and private protection gained in both the private and public sectors. Concerned about rising public debt and deficit spending, Charles opposes government expansion and excessive regulations that burden Ontario's citizens and economy. He supports limited government, fiscal responsibility, and individual rights. He also champions transparency and accountability in public institutions. He's a firm believer in grassroots democracy. Charles is committing to defend civil liberties, freedom of speech, as well as religious and property rights. Convinced that government overreach threatens Ontario core values, he seeks to restore the province's economic strength by minimizing the state interference. And he believes the PPC is the one to vote for. Let's hear it for Charles.
Good evening, fellow freedom fighters. So I see some people out there that know me, and I just want to give you a brief history of how I got to this place. So for 25 years, I've been a staunch Conservative Party member, totally entrenched. I've gone to convention, I've been on many boards, executive director, policy chair. I've gone to all the different things, and they know me, I know them. Unfortunately, and when I usually went to a convention, this popped up all the time. I'm a strong grassroots guy. I believe that everything should come from the people, and that should go up to the executive, and they should listen. Well, over the course of the last 10 years, it's been the other way around. Every time I go to convention, it's always a top-down thing. Now, that's not democracy anymore, and it's not very transparent either. I keep lamenting about it, they just close their ears, and that's it. What really put me over the edge was when they redistributed my riding. I had formed the board there, the old O&B board, and I had 30 people that were working with me, worker bees, doing everything else, and we were committed. And we found out that there's shenanigans going on basically in our riding, not just our riding, but a lot of the ridings in the GTA. So we found out that there was a candidate in Milton East that had made a deal with the party to move into the new riding that I was in to make room for another selected candidate, and that worked out. So in the meantime, this other person, I'm not going to name who this is, you'll find out soon enough anyway, but they basically anointed this guy and plopped him in there without any kind of contest or grassroots say at all. So I went to the party and I'm going, what are you doing? We got people that are already knocking at the doors. They got signatures, they've got donations, and we found out later that they just unilaterally canceled them using the term, your records were out of order. So I was caught between a hard place. I wanted to continue to support the party and work for my constituency, so I had to make a deal with the new guy and his board. So I thought we could amalgamate the two together. And he goes, well, sure, give me your list, and we'll see what we can do. So we have an AGM, and he picked 4 of my people out of 20, right? So, and there were token selections, and I'm not going to go into it, but it'll become self-evident really soon. So here I was, a staunch party member after 25 years, totally disillusioned now with my party, and this was at the party's blessing and full knowledge. And so here I am now. So I'm much like a lot of conservatives out there that are disillusioned with this party that has morphed away from real conservative values into something unrecognizable, right? I know Max doesn't like the term conservative for the PPC, but we really are the true light bearers of small c conservatives in Canada. And I'm proud of that. So that's why I'm here. So that's one of the things that drove me into this thing is the political interference. And we know that it's all out there, right? They just covered it up with the Hogue Committee. We know that there's traitors that are basically sitting in Parliament right now as MPs that are foreign spies, okay? And all the parties have zipped their mouths and don't want to say anything about this. So they are all complicit, and they're all suspect, right? My question is, if that's how bad the corruption is in our government, how can we have a fair election? You can't. You can't. Okay, we have no PPC people in the in the Parliament right now, so we are outside the fire. But all those people are. You don't know what you're voting for. You know, are you voting for China? Are you voting for India? Are you voting for Pakistan? Right? You really don't know. Anyway, so part of my other in a former life, I'm recently retired. I was the gun lobby. Okay, so thank you. Just as a show of hands here, who has guns? You don't have to. Wow. Okay, so actually I knew this because I have all the demographics. So Burlington, and the whole GTA. This is where all the guns are in Canada, right? Okay, the Liberals will tell you that, no, it's out in Alberta. No, it's up in North Bay. No, they're here. Right there, okay? So, like when I was a kid, my father wasn't too much into the guns, but he had guns. I shot guns. I remember, I'll tell you a little story. How much time do I have? 3 minutes, okay, quick. So, I don't know, it was grade 9. I decided to join the gun shooting club in my high school. Imagine. So I take my dad's cooey, get onto the bus. Okay, it wasn't in the sheath or anything, right? Right. I go to school, put it in my locker, right? Go to math class, right? I'd come out. We'd wait for the football team to finish up, and we'd move our hay bales in the back, and we'd shoot for another hour and a half on the football field. Move everything back. Put the guns, and they go home, right? Nobody said a word. Okay, nobody. Imagine doing that now. So this is the second thing that really drives me here, is that it's not the gun per se, okay, but we've seen the sliding intrusion on our property rights by our government, and we've allowed it to happen. The guns are the quintessential, butterfly in the mine shaft type of thing, right? If they can do it with them, they can do it with everything, right? So if you have a nice gas-guzzling SUV, you're going to have to buy EV, and we're going to make you do it because we're going to take yours away. And that's where we are right now, okay? And they're all colluding to do this. This is not about public safety. It's not about a national security threat, right? This is an ideologically motivated agenda to disarm Canadians. My question is why? We look back in history where we've done this with other nations before. It never ends well. Never ends well. Anyway, so I just want to let you know that with my experience with all the MPs of all the established parties, and we know the Liberals are completely into civil disarmament. They don't even try to hide it anymore. Of course, the NDP are with them as well too. But the Conservatives, I'm not too sure about, and they were supposed to be our allies. But I can tell you that they pretend to be our friends, but they're not, and they've betrayed us many times before. So if you have guns, and you think that the Conservatives are going to save you from further advancement of civil disarmament in Canada, I think you'll be sorely disappointed again. Anyway, I just want to say thank you very much to everybody. I'm doing this because I've seen a degradation in my beautiful town of Burlington. I've been here for 67 years, and it was Shangri-La at one point, and it's still beautiful now, but it's lost a lot of its soul, but it's got a lot of rot, right? And that's not because of the people. and it's because of our leaders, right? So I'm hoping that we can sweep those unrighteous people out of there, and in that vacuum, we'll send righteous people like Henry, right, to represent the people of his riding, my riding, and your riding. Thank you very much.